Hi everyone! In this video, let's recap how we can report questions. Do you want some honey? Winnie the Pooh is asking Piglet. When we describe the situation, say like in a story, we use direct speech. Direct speech looks like this. Pooh asked Piglet, "Do you want some honey?" We use quotation marks. But when we want to report it to somebody else, we use reported speech. Reported speech looks like this. Pooh asked Piglet whether he wanted some honey. What are you looking at? Winnie the Pooh is asking Piglet another question. When we describe the situation in a story, we use direct speech. Pooh asked Piglet, "What are you looking at?" We use quotation marks in direct speech. But when we report the situation to somebody else, we use reported speech. Reported speech looks like this. Pooh asked Piglet what he was looking at. Structure of reported questions. There are two main types of questions, yes-no questions and WH questions. When we report questions, the reported question should have 4 parts in total. 1, 2, 3, 4 for yes-no questions, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for WH questions. So when we're reporting questions, it's very important that we know how to differentiate yes-no questions from WH questions. Yes-no questions are answered with yes or no. These questions can start with is, are, was, were, does, do, did, has, have, had, will, would, can, shall, may, could, should, must. WH questions start with WH question words like who, what, where, why, when, how. Quick check. Are these yes-no questions or WH questions? Yes, you're right. Only A is a yes-no question. We can answer A with yes or no, whereas for questions B to G, they are WH questions. These questions start with who, what, where, why, when, and how. How do we report questions? Here are some very useful steps for you to follow. Reminder: no quotation marks are needed in reported speech. Step 1. Use a reporting verb like asked, wonder, etc. Other than ask a person, we can use other reporting verbs to report questions, including wonder, question a person, inquire a person, want to know, or try to find out. For example, I wondered where she bought the coffee. Step 2 is quite different for yes-no questions and WH questions. We use if or whether for yes-no questions in step 2. Like this. For WH questions, we use the WH question words in the original question. Quick check. Should we use whether or if or WH question words when reporting the following questions? Whether or if are used in reporting yes-no questions. On the other hand, WH question words are used while we report WH questions. Therefore, we use whether or if for question A, whereas we will use the WH question word when we report questions B to G. After the reporting verb in step 1 and whether or if or the WH question word in step 2, in step 3 we put the subject before the verb. After that, in step 4, we remove do, does, or did and change the form of the main verb if necessary. Reminder again, when we report a question, we change the question mark in the original question to a full stop in the reported question. Remember, like reporting statements, we need to change the tense, pronouns, time expressions, and pointer words such as here, this, these, when we are reporting questions. Let's try to report some yes-no questions with the steps we have learned. First, no quotation marks would be needed. Then we use the reporting verb to construct the A asked B construction. For yes-no questions, we use if or whether after the reporting verb. After Ted asked me, we can use if or whether. Here, I would use whether. Following whether, we will put a subject before the verb. The subject in the original direct question is you, and this you refers to me. Me is the object pronoun. Here, we will change it to the subject pronoun I. Following the subject, we need a verb. The verb in the direct question is are. In simple present tense, we will need to change it to a verb that agrees with I in front. The simple present tense are is changed to the simple past tense was. We write the remaining words and we change the question mark to a full stop. Therefore, the resulting reported question would be, Ted asked me whether I was happy. Let's try one more. Did you enjoy the party? Sue asked them. First, we do not need the quotation marks. Then, we construct the A asked B construction using the words in the direct question. For a yes-no question, we use if or whether after the reporting verb. It's okay no matter you use if or whether. Here, I use if. The subject in the direct question is you, and this you refers to them. Them is an object pronoun. We will need to change it to a subject pronoun, they. After the subject, we write the verb. The verb in the original question is did enjoy. It's enjoy in simple past tense. Simple past tense is changed to past perfect in the reported question. Had enjoyed. We write the remaining words in the question. Note that we drop do, does, or did if it's in the direct question. Here, we do not need the did anymore. We also change the question mark to a full stop. The reported question is, Sue asked them if they had enjoyed the party. Let's change one more yes-no question together. Have you read the book? Ruby asked me. We do not need the quotation marks. First, we write the A asked B construction. After that, we use if or whether after the reporting verb because this is a yes-no question. Again, it's up to you whether you use whether or if, they're the same. After that, we put the subject first before the verb. The subject in the original direct question is you, and this you refers to me. Me is the object pronoun. We need to change it back to a subject pronoun, I. The verb in the original direct question is in present perfect tense, have read. A present perfect tense verb should be changed into a verb with past perfect tense. Had read. After that, we copy the remaining words. Don't forget that we need to change the question mark to a full stop. Ruby asked me whether I had read the book. Now, let's try to report some WH questions. We do not need the quotation marks. And we start with the A asked B structure. After that, we keep the question word and place it after the A asked B structure. The question word in the direct question is how. We put it after Josh asked Jen. Then we need the subject. The subject in the direct question is you, and this you refers to Jen. We will change you to she, which is the subject pronoun of Jen. After the subject, we write the verb. The verb in the direct question is are in simple present tense. We need to change the verb to its simple past tense and a verb which agrees with she, was. Finally, we change the question mark to a full stop. The reported question is, Josh asked Jen how she was. Let's try to report one more WH question. We do not need the quotation marks, and we start with the A asked B structure. After that, we keep the question word in the question, where. Following where, we need the subject. The subject in the direct question is you. This you refers to me. We need a subject pronoun here, so we change the object pronoun me to the subject pronoun I. After the subject, we need the verb. The verb in the direct question is did go. It's go in simple past tense. Simple past tense is changed to past perfect in the reported question. Therefore, it is changed to had gone. Note that the did here is dropped. We do not need do, does, or did in our reported question. Lastly, check that you change the question mark to a full stop. The reported question is, Jem asked me where I had gone. How about this one? First, we know that we do not need quotation marks in the reported question. Then we start to write A asked B. We then keep the question word what. After what, we write the subject. The subject in the direct question is you, and this you refers to my sister and me. Because my sister and me has appeared in front already, we will use a pronoun here instead as the subject. We. After the subject, we need to write the verb. The verb in the direct question is have done. Present perfect tense is changed to past perfect tense in the reported question. Had done. Remember to change the question mark to a full stop in your reported question. The whole reported question is, Sean asked my sister and me what we had done. Remember the structure of reported questions. A reported yes-no question has 4 parts. A asked B, whether or if, subject, and the verb, full stop. A reported WH questions has 4 parts as well. A asked B, WH question word, subject, and verb, full stop. Great job! You have recapped the reported questions.